Breaking news! Dr. Wily is still the bad guy. Question, how do I find what I'm looking for at the video game store? Answer, eyebrows. Oh, zing! I am on a roll today. Welcome to Skull Compound. Now, like in the previous two Mega Man games, before you can even enter the fortress, you need to enter the fortress. You need to break past the perimeter defenses, and you can see Mega Man has already bypassed that helpful chain link fence in the background. Good job, chain link fence, way to keep out Mega Man. And just using Search Snake or Shadow Blade or whatever you feel like should be sufficient here. Grab a free E-Tank, that was very nice, and fall into not the front door, not the back door, but the sewer system. Now, if you start running right away, you're probably going to be a little bit too far forward on the screen, which is why I move backwards to fix my scrolling so that I'm adjusted in the center of the screen. Try it yourself, you know what I mean. Of all of the places in the entire game to possibly use top spin that's not in the boss fight, this section right here, underwater, is where you could use it. Because those penguins are kind of hard to hit with all of your other weapons, except for Magnet Missile, of course, but you should be saving up energy for that. So instead of trying to aim, you might just ram into them, which is pretty easy using top spin, and you might find a decent amount of success. However, because I still maintain that top spin is the most worthless weapon in the entire Mega Man series, I'm not going to recognize any possible positive use of that weapon outside of bosses, so I can continue to be unpleasant about it. So, just forget I said anything, alright? Well, nah, I guess you can use it if you have to, but still, so many other weapons you can use. Firing away at yet another Sniper Joe, and these guys I'm sort of sick of at this point. It's a string of them, and they're not terribly difficult to hit. You can use a couple different weapons that are effective against them, but I'm going to stick with the blaster right now. Not that I need to conserve weapon energy, but I like to stay at full power for as long as possible. However, I'm going to use the laser. Watch this. It's fun when it bounces off, but when it hits, it only takes 2 hits to destroy him. And this is one of those sections where if you plan it properly, you can just line up a proper shot and use Gemini Laser the way it's supposed to be used. I continue with my thought that from earlier that the disappearing blocks in Mega Man 3 are the easiest out of any Mega Man game, and those ones there are the last you'll see of them in this game. Unless you were trying to avoid the power-ups, there's really almost no chance whatsoever that you're going to fall in the spikes below. It's very easy. Now I'm switching to Shadow Blade to fight a curious boss. It's a turtle maker. I don't know exactly where it keeps getting all of these turtles from. Perhaps it's got a turtle hatchery in there and they mature in all of 3 seconds. Whatever the case may be, they are very easily dispatched with the Shadow Blade. If you let them go for too long... Oh, I guess it just gave up its will to live. If you let the turtles go too long, they will shed their shells, which will float around and then explode. If you hit them specifically, they'll explode. And that makes things a little more complicated, but not too difficult. Woo! Just goofing around at this point. These things are such a pain in the butt, and just give enough time with them, and eventually you'll learn how to goof around too. But until you learn how to do that, they're a pain. Just total painage. Filling up with some more free refills, and this is the stage... Oop, didn't hold right quite long enough. This is the stage of free refills. It's also a short stage, which is kind of suspicious. You know, most of the Mega Man stages have a certain predictable set length. This one's over very quickly, but the boss fight takes a very long time, so maybe that's where maybe that's where they were trying to balance it. So we're back in Hardman stage again with the guys chomping at my ankles and the bees everywhere. Except with the added bonus of spikes underneath us, so always building on pre-existing challenges. I like this. That's good. In fact, I like the Wily stages the most. I know I said Magnet Man stage was probably my favorite stage, but I think all in all, I like the Wily stages the most, and then Magnet Man's my favorite. Look at this, 2 E-Tanks in a row, totally ripe for the picking, don't even need to try. All of these weapon capsule power-ups, it's not like Rush Jet's gonna take that much energy to get through there. That's either a sign that they're being extraordinarily nice, or there's an possible boss battle ahead. Oh dear. This should look familiar if you've seen or played the original Mega Man. Can you guess what it is? I think you can guess what it is. That's right. It's our good buddy, evil villain, the Yellow Devil, Mark II. And as usual, you need to hit him in the eye when the eye appears. Except now, in addition to shooting at you, he's got one or two more tricks up his sleeve, which we'll see when he starts going the other direction. It's all very difficult to dodge. Now, you have it a little easier on yourself because you can now slide. I haven't said enough about... Oh, here's the tricky portion. Very, very difficult to dodge. Anyways, I haven't said enough about the slide. The slide is phenomenal. It's one of my favorite additions to the Mega Man series. It greatly increases your maneuverability, it allows you to squeeze into places the designers could never squeeze you into before, and it just speeds up the whole game. So, all around, I love the slide. Anyways, with this boss, you can usually get 1 or 2 hits on him, and you can move Hard Knuckle a little bit to adjust for that. But you can also, possibly, if you're close enough, get 3 hits. I hesitate to say 4 hits, but if you're really quick on the draw, you can get 3 hits in on him. Of course, if you wanted to make your life a lot easier during the Yellow Devil fight, you could just turn on Rush Jet, hang out in the corner in the top for most of the time, and then drop down to hit him in the eye whenever it suits you. But where's the challenge in that, honestly? We see that Hard Knuckle is finally being a team player after being, well, not useful in the rest of the game. Even if I would have gotten it earlier in the order, I almost wouldn't have used it at all. Very rarely. But now it's coming in handy all the time, blowing up these walls that can't be destroyed by any other means, and punching bosses in the eye. This is a good thing. This is a good thing. I was starting to say before how the Wily stages are actually my favorite in the game after thinking about it a little bit more. Magnet Man stage is my favorite of the initial 8, I believe. I still need to think about these things sometimes. I second guess myself. But there's something about the Wily stages. I think maybe it's because a lot of the initial 8 stages don't have a coherent theme, which kind of throws me off. I mean, you've got Top Man stage that I mentioned before. What is this room? Who put that guy on guard duty there? It must have been some sort of a joke. Hey, Joe, why don't you guard the little nook where nobody's ever gonna go? Silly! And I was calling them Sniper Joes earlier. They're Hammer Joes. They're Hammer Joes. Don't listen to me. Okay, well, listen to me, but don't listen to me. Sometimes. Use your judgment when not to listen to me. Wise. This is a great idea that I really like, and I'm glad to see that they sort of resurrected the idea a little bit in Mega Man 9 and Splash Woman stage. The whole moving platforms and the Wall of Death. Good stuff. I'm totally skipping those mystery containers because I'm at full just about everything. I don't really need them. Here's a tricky battle. It's sort of a re-envisioning of the clone battle from the original Mega Man, except this time instead of 1 clone, you've got 3. Only one of them can you actually damage. The other 2 are holograms, and of course the one that you can damage switches around each time that they teleport, so there's a little bit of guesswork and luck involved. It's a little predictable at the beginning. I think it's always the top and then it shifts down, but I could be wrong. Anyways, if you can just keep on them with... there's a couple different weapons that work. I prefer needle cannon because once you target the right guy, you can just rapid fire him to death. So, it can be tough because those projectiles are hard to dodge, but if you just are fast enough in identifying the right guy, they can usually fall before you need to use an E-tank or, before you need to use more than one E-tank. Now we're getting ever deeper into the fortress. We're fighting these strange junk monsters. I guess Dr. Wily was running out of parts and hastily constructed anything that he could possibly use as defenses. And they're kind of tough. Those blocks, those chunks of junk back from Sparkman stage are a little bit difficult to dodge. Especially if you drop down the ladder here, you're almost guaranteed to get hit. Actually, I think you are guaranteed to get hit. Anyhow, I don't know why those guys are so upset, but you can just feel their anger as they toss things at you. I love this. Hoo-ah! Even though you shouldn't be able to slide over a gap that large due to something in the not quite perfectly refined sliding physics, in rare circumstances you can. Awesome! And this is the teleporting hatch layout where you have to go fight all 8 Robot Masters all over again, one at a time, back to back. Except this time I'm going to do it perfectly. I'm not going to get hit, not even get scratched!